Tanner Cross and his attorney, Tyson Langhofer, join us now. Now, Tanner's a teacher in Virginia he really felt his faith really compelled him to speak up when these new policies that apparently schools, we're just seeing it, schools all across the country are grappling with, these transgender policies were being imposed on the school, which allow not only biological boys to enter the girls' locker room, and he was suspended for this, but also they were trying to dictate to not just teachers, but other students, what sort of pronouns they could or couldn't use and when. Unbelievable stuff. Tanner and Tyson, both of you, welcome to the show. It's good to see you and really appreciate your fight. Tanner, I have to ask, I've been following your case. I know that you've been reinstated to your position because they were trying to get you out of it. I know that from what I understand, there's this grace period, so to speak, up until December. But, you spoke out. For people who are unfamiliar with your story, Tanner, you were at a public school board meeting on your own private, personal time, and you just shared your opinion. Obviously, you are a Christian. You shared your opinion based on scripture. And for this, they were going to punish you for this. And then obviously you started working with ADF and they do such a great job. But I wanted to get how much did that surprise you? Did you, I know that they called you in the office, but I wanted to get your initial reaction. Is that something that you ever thought could happen to you in Virginia?
Well, I spoke against two proposed policies that I believe were going to be harmful to students and staff members. And I think that there was maybe, a little risk involved, but, we have First Amendment rights, and I felt very confident in the law where I could go, like you said, express my views at a public hearing. Teachers are just like everybody else. We have ideas and opinions, and we like to go advocate for those things, especially things that we think that are going to be harmful to children. And I just couldn't say things that were untrue.
That's a great point. And Tanner, Tyson, your attorney in this case, Tyson, what really gets me about this is people looking at Tanner and going after him for his free speech. Again, it was at a public school board meeting. We've all been to school board meetings. He was in his own personal, private capacity. He goes out and he says something that's affirmed in faith that in any other fair application of the law would be discriminatory to target him for expressing something that's faith-based. But yet that standard on speech and judging who can and can't speak, that it seems to be a little ironic when applied in Tanner's case. And I wanted to get your thoughts on that because it seems to me it's an unfair treatment of speech when you're looking at students and teachers. And why can't we find something where everyone can all exercise their First Amendment? Your thoughts?
Well, absolutely, Dana. You're absolutely right. This debate is going on throughout the country, at school boards across the country, this really fundamental debate about what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman, and how do we deal with those that are struggling with gender dysphoria and also respect the rights of students and teachers that hold differing views. And there absolutely is a way to respect that. We've struck this balance throughout our history. We've been able to protect the First Amendment rights of others, and allow this robust debate to go on, because in Tanner's case, Tanner believes these proposed policies are going to be harmful to teachers by forcing them to say things they disagree with, but also to students by allowing or forcing teachers to say things that they think are untrue. But we know that we can strike this balance, and so Loudoun County was wrong to punish Tanner simply for expressing his views in a public forum where they had actually invited people to give feedback.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was reading the judge was saying that the plaintiff looks to prevail just on the merits of the case by itself. Tanner, teachers have great relationships with their students. And I think every single student out there can recall a teacher that really just had, really had a very iconic place in their life, encouraged them to, do something different or to, go and achieve, just shoot for the sky, so to speak. And from everything that I've read, there were a lot of families and students that really supported you. And I can imagine too, when you're a teacher, you're also in the difficult spot where when policies like this come through, you hear those students' concerns about this, particularly the locker room situation. We went through through something similar like this with a member of my family in my home state of Missouri, where there was an 18-year-old male that did not want to use the teacher's facility. He wanted to go into the locker room with the girls because of how he chose to identify. That made the students really uncomfortable, and they were talking to the teachers about it. And I was hearing from friends of mine who actually teach in the district, they were saying that it was a scary position for them to be in, because you see the consequences in the headlines of what happens when you speak out. You didn't have you wouldn't have any second thoughts on a situation like that, I feel.
No, I wouldn't have any second thoughts about it. Again, I was worried about and concerned about my students, and I love and care for them, and I can't say things that are untrue that could possibly further damage something on the road for them. I know I'm not a fortune teller, but it's just, I believe it's a responsibility as a teacher to protect children and not say things that are untrue.
Right, right. And I would imagine that there are teachers too, Tanner and Tyson both, that in this school district in Loudoun County is in the news, it seems like every single week, even when school's not in session, which, I mean, Loudoun County is still making news. But I would imagine that there are teachers that are afforded their personal beliefs that are opposite yours. And yet I would also think, Tanner, that nothing has been brought up, no criticism by any parents of those specific teachers. Is that something that you've experienced?
Just because of my faith, it doesn't stop at the door when I go in and teach. We have this saying at my school, it's a slogan, it's we are a family. Sometimes family members disagree, but we still love each other.
Yeah. Tyson, I wanted to ask you about this too, with and the judges, as I was just sharing a little bit earlier, saying that the plaintiff was going to prevail on merits, and they did say that it's because he was really affirming his disagreement based on faith. That's something that's protected, our free exercise of religion, our free speech. I mean, obviously you're confident in this case, but unfortunately not every teacher like Tanner finds themselves in a similar situation. What terrifying precedence is being established here bit by bit with these cases? Talk to folks about how they could see this actually affect them in their lives.
Well, if Loudoun County is right, every teacher should be really concerned, because essentially what they're saying is that if 5 parents, as in Tanner's case, complain about you and they say, I disagree with your speech or I disagree with your religion, they're saying that that's a significant amount of disruption to allow them to remove you from the classroom. That would completely destroy public schools as we currently know them. Obviously, we know that teachers have different beliefs and different religious beliefs, different political beliefs, and they have the right to assert those beliefs in the political sphere, and they shouldn't be punished simply for expressing those beliefs. And so I think that every teacher should really be cheering this decision, regardless of whether they agree with Tanner or not. They should be cheering this decision because they know that no teacher should be punished simply for advocating for the good of their students.